That is the funny truth.
Do you want to do the intro? Was it my turn? I can't remember. Are we even or odd today?
We're on.
Oh, fuck.
You worry about what the fuck you have to do.
Okay. Should we open with a black joke? No.
Would that set the tone? Getting real.
I was about to say, that tone is dark. And I was like, we're just playing into it now.
We're just leaning into it.
Just leaning into it.
This is the Funny Truth podcast. I'm Adam J. with my co-host.
Gatsby.
And our guest today.
Shalom. Mazel
You want to say
tov.
your name?
My name's Adam Dominguez. I'm a old-ass comic from, I'm not even that fucking old-ass comic, but out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, how old are you?
So I'm 37.
Okay, you're not that old.
Yeah,
I'm
fucking-
29.
Yeah, but I mean, I think like when you get
How long have
started-
you... Yeah.
Yeah, I think comedy, I've been doing this for about 12 years.
Okay.
I will say 12 years and then successfully 4.
And what does successfully mean? Like,
What is success to you?
Think of it this way. Would you want to sit back and watch your old sets and then you sit back and you know what I'm talking about? I think in the past 4 years, it was the moment where I was like, I'm going to scrap all this shit and I'm going to do this the way I want to do it. And then that's been working. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been fucking working.
I think I've hit those points too, just didn't take me that many years.
Fucking lucked out. I think that's what's the best part about being... I mean, I started in El Paso. You guys have such a more conducive scene.
Well, I moved here for that reason, though.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm from Portland originally,
Oh, shit. Okay.
and that's where I started. But so I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, but it was always where a lot of people are not. I think in comedy, which I think gives me an advantage, is I was a class clown. Like I was the funny kid. Always did the funny shit like that. That was always the one thing I was always really good at,
Yeah.
without a doubt. I think of it like. Have you ever met somebody that they made somebody laugh one time in school and they still like, we'll talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
They're like, dude, remember that time sophomore year? And I was like, dude, that was every day for me.
I think it's kind of fun because I on contrast, I wasn't. But now that I'm being known as a stand-up comic, a lot of people from my hometown, when they saw the Amazon thing and they saw, all of these shows that I've been jumping on, I have a lot of people who are like, remember that one time I made you laugh? That's right, I made a comedian laugh.
Yeah.
And then
Yes. Yeah.
So
Well, there are those people too. I think that's why I think with comedy, I think it can be learned. Where like so my point was when I was saying I was an entrepreneur, like when I was like, okay, I'm gonna do comedy. I just signed up for a comedy contest at the Helium in Portland, like 3 months in advance, because I had just started like taking because COVID had hit. I had just started taking like a comedy writing class by Scott Dickers, a guy who was like the founder of The Onion.
yeah.
Because those targeted ads know what you want to see. And I was like, you know what? I should start doing this shit. And so like I'm starting to learn funny. And one of the things he said like in his first book was that everybody calls people naturally funny or not, but he's like, that's not actually true. It comes from something in your childhood that like had you predisposed. Like, because my dad is the funniest guy I know. Like when he'd see something like gruesome in the newspaper, like a local shooting, he just started hitting me with one-liners. And I'd be laughing, and then forced me to start thinking of one-liners, and my mom is just disgusted the whole time.
I think that's what's kind of crazy in the sense that all of our family members, you already know the one hilarious family member or that family interaction. And they always say that, oh, comedy comes from like trauma and shit.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because like and I mean, there's probably a ton of people who have better, but like, man, I had 2 parents. We didn't worry. We were not rich by any means, but like, it wasn't like a lot of my friends who I meet who had one parent or like had some other like struggle. It's like, yo, that's crazy.
But that's what I'm getting at is that like, the people who had those better stories that, if they ever become like a famous stand-up comedian, the fact that they're like, and then they were brought up from a single mother, who worked 15 jobs while this one
That's
was
what I've always hated because I was a basketball player like throughout college and in high school too, like where I played with a lot of people that were from like places that you'd say, oh, not as, whatever. But like we all, whether they came from that, and I also play with guys who came from better situations, you see that a lot in athletes. Like these guys have a different type of dog in them that I'm like, they're not making excuses. Like they could have this excuse and use it to like, because the way the world caters to you being a victim now is like, no one wants to hear like if you came from a good position and you made something of that.
No,
like,
no. You need to have a good story.
Like, oh, you were given $1 million. Not saying it's Trump, but you were given $1 million. Like, yeah, but you still had to do something with that. A lot of people will win the lottery and not do shit with $1 million.
It's one of my favorite, like one of the funniest people out there as far as musicians like concerned is like I actually fucking love like Little Dicky's story. You know, because Dickie's all like, yeah, no, I fucking had money. I had parents. I had people who loved each other.
Nice Jewish family, like.
But like, out of contrast of everybody else in the hip hop world, right? He was the one living the unique life.
Like he was the outlier
because
at that point.
But because like hip hop as a culture has purposely, I think, catered to that. There's this crazy interview I saw that was it was like from Crazy Bone, another dude from Bone Thugs. You ever seen that old interview where on the radio, and they're talking about like. This might have been like late 80s, early 90s. The record labels like get like all the people that are in the hip hop community up to this like secret type of house, and they're like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they pass out NDAs saying before we do this thing, like you have to sign these. If you don't like that, you can leave. Hardly anyone leaves. Then the people all stay. They sign an NDA, and they basically they're like, yeah, we've your record labels have made an investment into the private prison system, and we're gonna use your music to influence like that. And I was like, well, no shit. Have you listened to country versus rap? Like country's wholesome family shit, but those guys personally in their real lives might be pieces of shit. Just like guys who rap like don't actually do drugs or do any of that shit. They're doing it, and you're like, oh.
I'm just saying, also being from a military town, I've seen more people punch holes in walls to fucking country and Three Doors Down than I've ever heard them do to a Ray One album.
Well, that's where you get the term. You're like, oh, white people shit.
Yeah,
like you want to go to like a you've seen those like metal concerts where dudes are just swinging and like you might get knocked out.
But like you voluntarily signed the contract to be there in a pit. At a metal show.
But the word contract is also white.
Yeah.
That's very inherently white.
Like there was no contract at a Travis Scott concert.
No. Just some fucking girl with a fucking purple streak in her hair being all like, I just understand this.
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of makes it funny when it comes to like stand-up. If you translate all that shit to stand-up, your background story... now that everybody's got, and I'm not shitting on this because I kind of wish that I had the fucking resolve to keep doing it, but to have a podcaster, to build your own world where people can constantly get invested of you off stage, you know, they wind up following up with you on that. I get people, when I was, Twitch streaming, when I was doing all my live streams and stuff, that paid for my bills during 2020, you know?
So why are you not still doing it?
Because then the stages came back and I started getting busy on that. And so it became more of a
balance.
And I couldn't balance the two because I fell in love with just being on stage constantly.
No, I do really love doing stand-up. I've been enjoying doing the podcast. We still haven't launched yet. We're in pre-launch phase, but there's something about being in front of the live crowd. But I've gotten to a point too where like I'll maybe just go to open mics because I'm bored. I got nothing to do tonight. I'm not on the road. But when it comes to performing, it's like, bro, give me a full crowd. I'm gonna let it bang.
I've learned that when I lucked out. My roommate used to be like a YouTube star. For Ryan Higa, for the old Niga Higa, right? Yeah. So he was one of the writers, and it was like on-screen talent there for a while. And he was live streaming. He was just doing like video game stuff, and I got onto Apex or I got into whatever. Yeah. And I would sit in, and every once in a while, just because I was an asshole and bored, I would just jump in the back and talk shit to a point where I became a character on his stream. And then when I created my own stream, a lot of his followers started following me, and then that dude faced like a cancellation, which is a side story. Yeah, that you can check out on Legion of Skanks because now he works for the fucking Skank for All Gas Digital. But that made me fall in love with that whole entire medium. And then as I was just being myself in front of a camera with at first 5-6 people watching. I wound up cultivating this weird crowd that now follow me to shows where they're bringing up deep cuts from fucking weird, Twitch streams. They're coming in with that shit, and then it's selling tickets.
Yeah, because they're invested.
Yeah,
well, that's like something that I've only been doing stand up since end of 2021. So not very long. But I've studied it very hard of like the business, the art of being like funny, and then what it takes to be on stage. And like, yeah, you can study a lot, but you also got to get on stage. It's like driver's ed to me. They're going to teach you, but you got to drive the car. You got to get in there and do it. But then I'm seeing the business side where you're going, God, I think like I've seen a lot of people funnier than this headliner, but they have this crowd from something else that has nothing to do with stand up, and that's what sells the tickets, and that's the business.
We're in a podcast comedians world right now, and I'm not shitting on a lot of the ones that are selling out like crazy, but like I'm a fan of Andrew Santino and
dude, those guys are funny.
They're fucking funny.
Both sides.
But then you
sides.
watch Bad Friends, and then you automatically get into their world.
Dude,
on the podcast.
they have
a good podcast.
Dude, those clips on that are really good.
So fucking funny.
Probably the best run podcast I've ever seen, like top to bottom.
It's just because it's improv. They know how to bounce shit off with each other. But then when you wind up going to go see them live, it's not that they're fucking hilarious solo, But part of you kind of wants to hear that little reward. Thank you for listening to the podcast. So when somebody goes up there and is like, hey, so I have a niece name's Rudy Jules, and the crowd goes fucking wild.
Yeah,
like, oh
exactly.
shit, I know who that is. And I think that's what the point we're into right now.
Yeah.
If there's something that I wish I learned when I was a younger comic that I could have taken to now, it would have been that to stick around and then hang out with everybody there who's not a comic.
Yes, dude, that's can't stress that enough.
If you go to an open mic and there's normal people there, the simple thank you so much for coming out here, blah blah blah, just being real nice with them. Comedians, we're fickle bitches. And
dude, like I did a show on Saturday. It was like a last second. It was at a club, but it was at the Mic Drop Outdoor.
Yeah.
But I'm just like already discouraged getting up there when I see that it's like all comedians in the audience. I'm like, fucking, I don't, especially when you're on the local part where it's like, these people have heard all your stuff.
Yeah.
There's maybe 8 to 10 people who are actually not comedians out there. And then it's like, and I saw Josh Harrison was a host and he was eating shit. And I was like, well, we know how this is like. That's good. Like a 12-minute set, 15-minute set flies by when you're murdering. When you're not, you're like, you're like, ugh.
But I think that's why, if you, even out of that small fraction of people, it's something that I've told younger comics.
And what's funny is you get so used to the club scene where it's like, it's almost a rhythm, it's a cadence, right? Like they're laughing, you're like, I'm gonna wait for this to finish and I'm gonna start again. When you're in that, it's like I could tell, it's like you could see everybody and the people were laughing, but they weren't laughing out loud.
Yeah.
So it was like quiet. So you're just like, I'm saying it, and the dudes are like having a seizure, but they're not making any noise.
And it's those are the people that I fucking want. I want fucking a bunch of people about to have a seizure.
Yeah.
If I can have somebody die in the middle of one of my sets instead of me for once, just some motherfucker having a heart attack in the middle of the show. I know 2 comics.
No.
In my lifetime who have had fucking people.
No, you're pretty. Adam's pretty. I've been bumped twice because of Adam.
Really?
I've been bumped twice because of Adam.
Nice.
I got bumped at the mic last week because of Adam.
It's definitely.
And then I got bumped at a show we did back in August where I was going to do a 20. I was pushing myself to be the headliner hard.
What was that one?
It was one that Savannah produced. The show. That's where I met you at.
That's the fucking. And I will say this, side note, right? just I take a lot of joy in bumping you.
Yeah. You should.
Don't get me wrong. Like,
Don't wrong.
I love bumping.
I walked in there, I'm like, I'm the weird fucking George Lopez, where I'm like, there can't be another Adam on this show. I can't have two.
No, and he's Adam J. Dominguez.
Yeah. For the longest time, there was a comedian in Vegas who, after I moved out over there, was so insistent on like, hey, you shouldn't go by Adam Dominguez. No one's ever going to fucking remember your last name. They're going to remember, what's your middle name? And I said, it's Jacob. And they're like, just go by Adam J. And I was like, there's going to be some comic named that, I'm sure. And then I met you. And
fucking idiot.
So fucking, no. But I will say, to tie everything in, one of the things that drew me to like you and your set is because I'm not going to use the naturally funny thing because we are not sponsored by Natty Light.
Not yet.
But fucking, hey, naturally funny, naturally light. So you kind of don't fear the repercussions of saying what's on your mind when you're on stage.
Your actions.
And I'm saying that in such a good sense because there's so many comics who like memorize a fucking script. Go up there on stage and they're like, "This is it. This is it. This is where you laugh. This is it. This is where you."
Well,
laugh.
that's how I learned to write comedy. But then I also know that there's a human element where it's like you gotta be you. Like people would compare me a lot to. I'm sure you might even said it, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, you sound like Jesselnick." I'm like,
Jesselnick a lot.
He's just one of my favorite joke writers. So I probably like I've studied that, like the misdirect.
Like the structure.
I was gonna say Slow Schultz.
I've been compared to that too.
Yeah.
And
By my looks, I think.
People just say you look like Andrew Schultz.
You look like Schultz with Down syndrome. And
You look like someone tried to draw Andrew Schultz from memory.
Schultz with an extra chromosome.
Fuck.
This has turned into the roast.
No, because I've been called like the Wish version of Andrew Schultz, like
Kroger brand.
the
Andrew
Walmart
Schultz.
version.
Hey, do you want to go home and watch Andrew Schultz? We've got Andrew Schultz at home.
Andrew Schultz at home.
The Tubi version.
Yeah,
Tubi's crazy.
Schultz on Roku, dude. That's
Man.
But I liked your set because like you kind of go for the fucking jugular, at the get go
Immediately.
and dude, I wish I had those fucking balls when I fucking, my first 7 years and shit. That's
Well,
why,
but like I look the way I do too, and I know how people like have perceived me growing. Like I used to not.
Yeah.
I'm very actually introverted. I like to think I'm a nice guy, but like people a lot of times because I don't actually like to talk. I don't like to engage people the first time I meet them. Alcohol helps, but like
it does.
I learned that like in high school, like after I was done, like people would hit me up later on and be like, "Yeah, bro, hey, everyone knows who you are." I was like, I had no clue. Like, we just thought you were an asshole. And I've seen how girls will talk with each other, like, "He's an asshole," but then you just walk up and you say, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, he's such a nice guy. Like immediately change. Like
It's because everybody wants to be, the friends of. Oh, that guy's an asshole, but not to me. Like
Yeah,
I'm so glad.
Right.
I've seen him turn on
So-
other people. I'm glad I'm on his side.
so I know the look of like, because that's what I studied. Like when I started, is I studied like, oh, it's a character. It's this. It's like, but it's really an extension of you. So it's not you're not faking it, but it's like go and talk to like the people closest to you, like my parents, my best friends. Like I wish Adam would be more of this. I wish he wouldn't be less of. I wish he'd be a little bit less of this. It's like go back to what you were when you were 6, before you had to pretend and shit. And I was like, okay, people call me arrogant. People call me this. I'm like, that's because of how I look.
And you realize that our
Exactly.
career path is like the only one that rewards that. Like imagine
Yes.
working in a fucking office.
No, I've been. It's fucked me over before.
Yeah.
My best example, reason I think I got into being entrepreneurial was I was a basketball player through college. And it's like some colleges, I went to a few colleges. Some colleges I went to, the coach loved me.
Yeah.
Fucking loved me, loved my sense of humor, thought it was great. Worked for me. Other times, like at places that I should have been playing more minutes at, it was like, oh, you're benched because I didn't like what you said to me and it hurt my feelings type of thing. And I was like, but it taught me a lot about the work world.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, oh, I'm about to get a degree because my degree was like sports business. I was like, oh, so I go work at like Nike or go work for a professional team. I was like, so that some manager who'd be like, oh, he has a lot of potential because I work hard and I'm like trying to achieve like, oh, he has potential. Like I'm not gonna promote him. I'm gonna promote this person who's not a threat to my job. And I was like, I can't operate like that because it's that will kill me on the inside more than I'm gonna die on my own sword type of thing. Like
It's a soul-sucking fucking choice you have to make because before comedy, I used to manage hotels. That's what I used to do, right? So
that's a Mexican thing to do.
I was making fucking.
But like an achiever Mexican.
Oh, dude! Like everybody's
Like, you got a lot of white in you?
He's got rooms.
Yeah.
He knows how to be.
Well, because you got the name Adam.
Oh, dude! You know what it's like to be boss of fucking housekeeping.
Oh shit.
That's that was one of my friends. He's actually the dude who like encouraged me to get into comedy. Mexican dude. He used to manage hotels in Oregon.
Dude,
Why'd you look at him like you know?
he's like, hey,
no, yeah.
we're one of them. We're one of them.
He's one of the good ones. Like you, buddy.
He was, dude. He was one of the good ones.
Like, si, senor.
Always pronounce my name right.
But he was actually like the most like Republican / bigot dude that would say shit, but he was like, no, I'm Mexican, bro, and he spoke Spanish.
But he made money though, right?
Yeah,
that's what I've learned is that
money's relative.
If you make if you make more money than the rest of your family, you go Republican real fast.
Yes,
real fast with the quickness,
real quick. And
that's why I saw some dude stand up bit. I won't cut your story up too much, but I saw a bit where he was talking about. He's like, I grew up with like all liberal friends. I'm from Seattle, but then like I started hanging out with like some conservative people, and it's like, I think I'm actually conservative. Like I like to own land. I don't want 7 roommates. Like I don't like. Maybe I want this. Like. Yeah,
that's it's weird because I'm from a border town, El Paso's military border town, and so everybody there is more left leaning, right? Yeah. And I'm not shitting on either way.
They're easy to shit on both sides.
We knew if you had a fucking good paying job, if you were a fucking district manager of a fucking T-Mobile, you were the first one to being like, I don't know, we should just kick him out of the country.
Like, we could build that wall, maybe.
and I think there's some good points to that.
You know what's crazy is because they play on that for people, and it just shows really what you're about. I'm like, I could get it, but it's not necessarily what you're about. But when you're ignorant. And you know what kind of biases you can get on people? Like, that's what we play off of with everything is all feeling. But, like, I had a whole new perspective shift hit when my friend's mom was dating some, like, Hispanic dude that was, like, her age in the 50s. And he's like, it's not. We're not moving here because we want to. He said, white people are coming from America and buying up our land, and it's cheaper for us to live in America. I was like, oh, that's a totally different perspective. Yeah. They're not here because they're like, we want a better life. They're like, fuck, dude, this is cheaper than where we live.
Motherfuckers are driving us out.
I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Fucking gentrifying the country and the world.
Yeah, so when people are like, I like going to Mexico, I'm like, there's Mexico where you go, but then there's Mexico.
Dude, that's kind of what gets me about a lot of playing it towards comedy is the fact that like I come from a Mexican family. All my family's fucking immigrants, and I'm a first generation born here on fucking soil. I'm an anchor baby.
Well, I think the initial thing to come here maybe was for the better life, but now it's like we're in a different time.
Oh yeah,
now where it's like, bro, you're playing off this old 80s 90s stereotype. But it's really
because they don't travel. People don't travel.
That's what kills me is because I'm a business guy. So when I look at stuff, I'm like, it's always look at what money is being made off this. It makes perfect sense. I've heard it, for the Democrats to say like, no, bring people in because those are their voters, those are their people. Because they're always going to promise them shit that they're never going to deliver on. But they're always going to promise them shit. That's what they do. And I was like, well, that argument makes a lot of sense to do that. But then there's the money side, which is not left or right. It's the 1%. Which is like what dudes. Have you read Robert Kiyosaki books? The Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No.
He talks really good books, but there's another book he writes called The Cash Flow Quadrant, where it's this quadrant. On the left is employee, on the bottom self-employed. That's like people who are independent business owners or just employed by somebody. Those people are caught in the rat race, because when you're self-employed, you feel like you're free, but you actually work like 100 hours. Because nobody's, you can't fuck shit up. I've been there. I'm like, that's actually harder and actually worse.
Yep.
But then on the right side, there's business owners and investors, and those are the people who are not playing the victimhood, the like this. They're like, no, we just buy things that make money, and we're playing the game of money. I'm like, that makes way more sense. So like all these arguments that happen, it's like. The only reason I have to talk about them is because it affects my daily life. Like certain things, like the mask wearing was, I get it, but then like when you started learning that it was like kind of bullshit, I was like, you're starting to call out my alpha male instincts.
I think
of doing what you tell
my
me.
favorite byproduct of all of this, though, come on, has to be OnlyFans. Has to be.
That incorporates a little bit of everything.
It incorporates
it
literally
has the free agency of it. That has
yeah.
Free market.
Yeah.
You work for yourself.
You make it yourself.
Capitalism.
The funny thing about OnlyFans,
we're stuck at home.
What else are you gonna do? How are you gonna make money? Hey, what's a primal need? You need to fucking jerk off.
The funny girl's stuck at home. You're stuck at home.
Yep.
You're bored.
Wouldn't you rather jerk off to the girl you remembered from high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. But my thing
that plays into that part of the brain.
The funny shit with
Sure, I'll see
OnlyFans.
her naked.
The funniest shit with OnlyFans is
Fuck it.
shut up, dude.
No, get out your point. No, you haven't been talking the whole time. Like, we've been listening.
Yeah.
No, it was really interesting, the stuff you're talking about.
No, dude.
No, I had a good time.
People just wish I would talk
I had a
more.
great time. No, I know. That's what you think, because you're tall and white.
I just think it's funny that OnlyFans was initially created to not be porn. Like, because I remember seeing like dudes OnlyFans. It was like for like business advice or like this shit, and they're like, but then there's like
That goes into the branding of it,
yeah,
too.
it's the branding, right?
So I
Because you have OnlyFans.
have a contract with OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I have an OnlyFans rep.
Yep.
We filmed something on OnlyFans has a new app. It came out OFTV,
That's awesome.
right? And they picked a bunch of comedians to film little shows on
That's
it,
dope.
and then it's kind of like its own little separate,
Yes.
like YouTube shit where you get your own
like
channel.
a sector of
Yeah.
OnlyFans. Like, do they put it separate? Like, do they?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it like in the?
So they want this to like compete with like the Roku channels and everything.
Well, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
That seems
It's,
like the logical next step for them,
Yeah.
though. If they're really trying,
Well,
if they try to build as a platform,
You got the brand, right?
Yeah.
So you
Branding.
gonna buy up other. That's the thing that tripped me out, dude. Is about business. When you start learning business, like when you're a corporation and you have enough money and shares and capital, a lot of people think of risk management as just like, how do I protect my business? But then there's times where you gotta expand and grow, right? Like Blockbuster should have bought Netflix. Like you had the money, you had the capital and the brand at the time. Like you should have.
You should just go to the next step. That's what it
Yes.
is. It's just like you should
Yes.
prepare for a bigger
Because
avenue.
you have brand and you have recognition. So then you start buying up. Like I work in insurance. That's what insurance companies do. You buy up shit from the smaller names when you have the brand. That's all about the brand.
So-
and then when you're on an app,
That's what they're aiming for. We had a long talk. I've had several Skype talks with their content managers and their people, and they were like, "Here's the business plan. This is what we're trying to aim for. We are not deviating from what got us all this money in the first place.
Absolutely.
we are not deviating from that. In fact, it is in my contract that I am not allowed to talk shit about other OnlyFans content creators. And in a weird way, I wouldn't because
yeah,
after
you know what?
meeting
It
them,
almost doesn't like that. Doesn't even seem like a. I know
Well, no,
that
the-
would be a thing, but it's like
that's like what I was talking about with Ben on the last podcast, like with professional sports. Like the only thing that's got us to this platform and this attention was these paying sponsors. You know, like
oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
that shit. You know, the sponsors that sponsor professional sports are never usually good.
they hit me up and they were like, if you want to collaborate, here's a bunch of OnlyFans content creators that you might want to be able to collaborate with. And I recognized a few of them that I've met, you know, just in my fucking years of existence and shit.
Yeah.
And then I kind of linked up with a few of them, and all of them were like, all right, let's create some content together. And they're like, you don't have to do porn, but you can be writing for us, and then you can put this out on your shit, and then you
Yeah.
can monetize that,
Yeah.
and then we will
Well,
put that on the OnlyFans
And that's
networks and
that's
stuff.
so such a good representation of what the city of Vegas is. It's like, yeah, dude. Like Vegas never ceases to amaze me how any and all type of people will hold some sort of business conference there. Like it could be a meeting for the Presbyterian church. Like they would be like,
Yeah.
oh well, we're gonna be in Vegas.
We'll be
like,
in Vegas
Friday
at
through-
the.
My favorite thing is that every year, I don't know for how long, I know for as long as I've lived there, that they have CES happen at the same weekend that AVN is happening, right? And so Consumer Electronic Expo, where they're showing every brand new piece of
Yeah.
thing you can buy,
Yeah.
and then like literally a couple casinos down, and the next hotel, it's the Adult Video Network.
But you kind of want to be there during that time
oh,
because
yeah.
that's like such foot traffic and just like everything.
As an
interest.
as an entertainer, I'm literally
Yeah.
those are the weeks that you want to get work because now you're performing for somebody who is a huge important cog
Yeah.
in a Fortune 500 business, and then your favorite porn star that you can only recognize from the back of her head, you know, and you're just fucking like,
But that's an
"Oh, wow."
electronic business in and of itself.
Dude, holy shit! And then they bring you in because they thought we thought you were so fucking funny,
Yeah.
or hey, you
Yeah.
know, oh, you know a lot about fucking sports. We're doing this fucking
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
there's-
you're connected to
there's
FanDuel,
always-
you're connected to this, that,
there's
whatever.
always-
DraftKings is
Yeah,
just
DraftKings.
opening up their shit.
Always shit
Yep.
happening in Vegas too, and I've been there I went there once to do a Wise Guys open mic, which doesn't count. But I went there for a week. I used to be a sports agent. So I went there for NBA Summer League.
Yeah.
And was there for the UFC weekend. I was there for like 7 days, dude. I was like, I'm good with ever going there again. Like
It's a lot.
I'd had enough.
Oh yeah, no, I can only take it at like 2 days at a time. Honestly, as an out of towner, but yeah.
Dude, and I'm not a gambler. I wasn't even into it.
Oh yeah, me neither.
There's so much. I would say like, hey, are you an MMA fan?
Yeah.
Show up
Yes.
on fight weekend, and then I'm gonna tell you all the places you should go if you could want to run into anybody over there.
Yeah.
Are you a pro wrestling fan?
It was crazy, man. You go like I'd go to the hotels, like sit there in the bars and shit, and all the NBA dudes were walking through.
Yeah.
Just you're like, huh, you know. I'm not starstruck by him. I'm trying to do business with him, but I'm like, yo, all these dudes are walking through here right now.
Yeah.
It's fucked though. I stayed. My experience with going there is I was doing business. I was with my business partner, and I was in charge of booking to like hotels. I booked this at Airbnb for like $30 a night. Have you ever been catfished at Airbnb?
Yes. That's all you had to tell me was a $30 a
Yeah,
night.
I didn't even have to tell. I was like, okay.
But there's catfishing on Airbnb. Like it looked cool. It was like whatever.
It's also $30 a night.
I know, but whatever. And so I'm cheap.
There
bro.
it is.
I'm cheap, man.
That's what he glazed over.
And so,
He's like, I can't believe it.
So this African dude is driving us from the airport, like doing Airbnb. Dude, we take a right off the strip and we go down this place. I look like Boys in the Hood. Like there's a pit bull chained up on the thing. Like there's dudes with face. There's dudes with face tats out there smoking menthols and Black and Milds. And I'm just the African dude's driving. He's like, oh, this is the heart to the hustle. As he
Heart of the hustle.
As he drops us off, bro. It's just like, all right. And my roommate, light skinned dude, was like, yeah, I'm not staying here, bro. Fuck that. And like he got a room at the Hooters Hotel.
Yeah, because those are cheap as fuck. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's like,
And then first night we were there, we were recovering. We spent the first 3 nights in Salt Lake of this 10-day trip. And I wake up and my roommate or my business partner, he just left because there was a big earthquake during that summer 2019. I don't know if you remember that. There were earthquakes, huge earthquake, and he was at like the top of the Hooters Hotel. He's like, you know, black people, they get extra scared of natural disasters. He like, I'm out. Left. And so like his whole room was open for the weekend. Anyways, long story short, my biggest Vegas,
There we go.
my biggest Vegas win.
Bring it home, brother.
My biggest
in your own
Vegas
time,
win
though.
was I hooked up with a Miss America contestant.
That's what you wanted to say?
like, capitalism is good.
He won me. She goes.
What's the point of the story? When were we going to get there?
I blacked out.
And I realize you're an athlete because you were
But did
running
you-
circles, dog.
Yeah, but I
Where are we going?
that's a misdirect. That's a misdirect.
Oh, it's his left turns.
I was like, land it, man. Land it.
You were that African driver who took us to the Airbnb. You were
The heart of the hustle.
It was the heart of the hustle right here. And then I fucked her.
Fucked her.
Nah,
Nice play.
the real story behind. I give more details. I lost my key to the fucking the Airbnb because I was at UFC night ripping bumps in the bathroom, and I lost the fucking key to my Airbnb. I don't know what happened to it, and so I was like, calling, was like, "Yo, you still got the room available?"
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Went to the Hooters Hotel, met the girl there, and I remember her telling me before I blacked out was like, she's like, one deal breaker for me is like guys who do coke. I'm like, oh yeah, not me. I know it's just bleeding. Yeah, that's crazy. But
not like
I don't know
those
how I
other guys.
pulled. I blacked out. I don't know how I pulled, but I was.
I'm really happy for you, man.
Yeah, no, it was a good. That was a good
I like how after that he's all like, "Yeah, I'll never go back to Vegas. It was a fucking terrible time." Just
It was.
It was,
That's the only like high note. and I was too drunk to really remember it.
That's the Vegas experience, though.
It's the Vegas experiences. You go over there. I ended up in a relationship with a homeless girl.
Nice.
She was a girl who got like she broke her fucking engagement and then took all of her money and then like reconverted her like van to like live out of her van, and she's just traveling the country. And so she was really, really fucking hot, and she was just like, yeah, I don't live anywhere. Can I park in front of your apartment?
Can I squat?
I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, all right,
That's
cool.
the kind of squats I thought.
And she stayed at my place for like 3 months. And I still talk to Miranda. She's really good. She's
No,
doing really
you know,
Shout out Miranda, wherever you are.
we call them homeless, but I know girls like that from high school that are like kind of bad, and they like live out vans now.
It's the OnlyFans life, dog. If you can fucking
The hot girl thing to do.
Dude, I have friends
doing hot girl shit.
hot girl
Fuck.
I have friends from like high school, college that I met through other means that are like they're like OnlyFans managers now.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I used to do that shit.
dude is a millionaire.
Yeah, when you first get started, so it was a company that was opening up in Vegas where they were getting a bunch of people who were good writers, and they would let you hang out with all these adult stars or OnlyFans models who were verified, Twitter models who were verified at that time, and then you would just hang out with them, and then you would have to dedicate like an hour or two based on when they would normally be awake and respond to all their fucking messages. You'd have to respond.
Were you
to
working for
all-
Andrew Tate?
No, they never actually fully went over. I think I maybe did it for like 2 or 3 days, and then they were like, "Yeah, we couldn't get the fucking LLC going." And I was just like, that's the easiest thing to
That's
do.
the weirdest excuse ever.
and then I was like, so they paid me for my time.
Yeah.
But I was
Honestly fucking hilarious, dude.
That's amazing.
that's all you did. So whenever you were
is that ever-
commenting on Pornhub and shit, and then I would be like,
It
"Oh my
was
god,
you
there's
on
only-
the other
it's
side?
fucking me, bitch! It was me the entire
You like that, Daddy?
That's awesome, dude. Well, that's
I've done so fucking much, dog. Like fucking.
but that's
Goddamn.
the
You know what
funny
it's like
truth.
to
That's
get
the
a
funny
fucking.
truth.
You'd get a dick pic, like fucking, like DM to you, and then you would have to comment like, "Ooh, that's so nice" and shit. Like, you know.
And they were like, yo, what do people like you like to hear and respond?
And so I'm sitting there, just numb to it, everything, just fucking.
This is another day in the office.
I gotta clock in. Can no one bother me for the next 2-3 hours?
I gotta look at penises.
I gotta look at a bunch of fucking dicks and shit.
Oh my god, dude.
Compliment penises and fucking fake that shit, dude. That's a weird life, man. It's just, you know what it's like to be like, oh my god, I like the creepy smile you have in the back, and then fucking, dude, so fucking much.
Holy fuck, dude.
Did you ever
Holy
see any
shit.
that you're just like, man, they should get checked out?
Dude, yeah, so they
Holy
multiple,
fuck.
many of them. As you know, what was the most common ones were always like some dude who's like you could tell was like fucking married because you see picture of his like wife and kids in the back and shit.
Oh my god!
And then they would do this like bottom to top fucking view shit. So it would be like their fucking like little fucking thumb dick and then like their man tits up there and then just staring downwards with like terrible lighting because you could tell they took the photo while their wife and family were like asleep.
Oh yeah,
I would get those constantly and
It's just the
shout
glow
out,
of the
hey,
computer screen.
I'm not gonna because I know it's
Jesus
under the
Christ.
contract and I still fucking respect the fuck out of them. To the porn stars, I'm probably gonna see us when I share this shit, and
Yeah.
they're gonna sit there and be like, "Yeah, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that." I think that's why I wound up developing this like weird respect.
No, because
100 respect. Like,
got-
if you can do that, like, I have nothing but respect for
Fuck me,
women
dude.
that get into the industry.
no.
'cause it's
Yeah, it's just like
just- no.
when I hear them
Bring the misogyny, bro.
when I hear them complain about like the creepiness of people, I'm like, you realize that that's what you're making money off of.
Yeah.
I know it exists, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Because that kind of stuff. Because it's like as a dude who's into male empowerment, I'm like, don't subject yourself to that. Don't be the simp, dude.
I'm more of a fan, and though my God, dude, here's the worst part about it is that most of them, if I don't respond in the correct way, simp can go away really fast. It can also be gained really fast, but they'll turn around being like, "What the fuck, whore? You fucking, want to fucking take the compliment of me fucking sending you my fucking fuck you.
I'm sending you my time.
Yeah, I'm fucking spending my fucking time and shit and everything. And if I turn around and I'm just like, I'm sorry, baby, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Here's another $50. And
Yeah,
it's
dude. I've met friends of mine that like once I find out they're like simping like that, like, bro, I gotta stop like subscribing to these OnlyFans. I'm like, dude,
But
like,
then-
it's like I still love you because I have friends from back like childhood that are your friends. It's like if I met you now, you would not be my boy. But because I know you from that long, like you're my boy. But like,
But the nice guy is never the nice guy. The nice
that's
guy
the whole bro. There's
that's what I'm saying.
there's
The nice
books
guys-
on that shit. Like a nice guy is a dude who's like, oh, I opened the door and she didn't suck my dick.
I'll say the best ones were the ones who use their social media. Oh my God, I'm fucking ratioing these motherfuckers. But there'd be these motherfuckers who would turn around and they would be like, they would take like a video that, you know, one of the girls would fucking tease like, oh, I just released this one up on my ManyVids or my OnlyFans. Yeah. Right. Here's a little teaser. And then the guys who would like retweet it or fucking share it or fucking clip. Oh my God, this video you know, that Sloan fucking released is so fucking hot. You guys should like, those guys were the ones who were like, would sacrifice their 300 followers to be like advertising for these girls who have fucking, you know, 27K.
Yeah, exactly.
And shit, but they're the ones. Those are the ones who are always the nicest ones, and I kind of feel like when it comes to the simple, right, that they would kind of moderate each other because you would see somebody being demanding, and then you would see those who are actual genuine fans turn around and being like, "Hey, dog."
No, she's gonna get to it. She's busy. All right,
back up. Or my favorite,
which is another version of simping.
Yeah, exactly. It's a spectrum almost.
But that's what I'm saying is that they would moderate themselves.
Yeah.
My favorite ones would be the guys who were like honest with themselves, and they would turn around and they would say, "Dude, she's not gonna fuck you."
Yeah, bro.
She's not gonna
fuck any of us.
She's not gonna fuck any of us.
Yeah, have you ever hung out with a group of betas and you're like, you could see them all, but there's one alpha among the betas.
Dude, it's weird because I feel like that paradigm could shift so fucking, and it happens. Look, comedians are the biggest tells.
Your shit is like triggering me like to like my memories of shit that like got like my homies and I almost in trouble for like sexual harassment because we would get other dudes like from like our school, like in high school, we get other dudes to like like catfish them and send them news and shit. Like catfish, like the funny, we're laughing about this shit. Like, yeah, bro, send me like, and like saying like, oh yeah, baby, like shit. It's like. But now there's a whole industry where you get paid off that. Like, shit, I've been in the wrong game.
Dude, the money that I make now on, because my OnlyFans that I have out there is I was just putting stand-up clips.
Yeah.
And then it was brought up to me by a few gay fans and female fans that I had that were like, you know, you never post up anything more than that. And then I started posting like comedy fucking porn that I was like fucking around with. And then when that was making money, I would openly say, really? Like, you all are buying this shit? Like, I would kind of look down on it. Like, bro. What the fuck are you doing? Like, come on, stop. Someone would buy something, and then I would get a notification of like, hey, they bought this clip for fucking, you know, $40 or something like that. And then I'll message them and you're like, what the fuck is wrong?
No,
with
I can tell you're not. You're really like you're super like honest, genuine, like so like that bothers you. It's like you gotta.
That bothers you.
That's why I'm like.
Yeah, you don't have a making money mind state, so.
Like no. You definitely that dude. Like I'm like, yo. Like,
but a lot of them kind of like appreciate the fucking like. The ones who do buy consistently, and I'll tell them like, really, another one? Like, don't you have it? And they're like, you know, I'm just supporting comedy, and I'm like, there was no, I didn't tell a joke there.
It's like a gambling addict who's like, yeah, I should stop probably fucking betting, but they're gonna keep doing it. They're gonna be like, the NFL's rigged, but I just laid this parlay down today that like.
Well, like imagine after you got off stage, every fucking time there was a guy who showed up and then like handed you like $25, no matter what the fucking show paid, no matter how long you were on stage ever, just kept fucking handing it to you, right? And after a while, you'd be like, "What's this for?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, just because I appreciate you." And you're like, "I didn't."
That's what I do to my mom.
Yeah. I got to invite her to more shows then.
It's not the show. It's my mom has never thought I was funny ever.
Most family members fucking.
No, my dad does think I'm really funny, but my mom.
Does your dad think he's funnier than you though?
I don't think so. Now I think he knows that I've
he used to.
I've superseded him.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, but I don't know. He's very realistic. He's analytical like me. Where I'll be like, how many laughs per second? Where's this guy getting? Oh, yeah. That's how I judge comedy because I'm like, you might like this style more. Like I might see somebody up there that I can't stand. But I'm like, well, let me gauge the metrics of like, and that's from the business side.
Yeah.
Like, well, you were getting a lot more laughs than this. I thought he was the best. He sounded like the best joke writer. He had this shit very tight, but you just did your thing, and you got like twice as much laughter as he did the whole set.
It's gonna be a weird thing because since comedy's so fucking subjective, right?
Yeah.
I know we're playing through like averages.
Yeah.
Of I go up there and if I don't want to do my set, I'll just fucking talk as fast as I can and as loud as I can.
Yeah.
Right. Just fucking. And just
Oh
fucking
yeah.
go.
You can turn that switch.
But like, if I want to be like, all right, cool, I got to pace this out for the next hour because I'm gonna be up here for the next fucking hour, right? I'll be a lot more slow and methodical about shit.
Well, that's why you have the material.
Yeah, I think material happens, and I do not, and I have to preface this heavily. Comedians, if you are starting your whole entire set with fucking crowd work, stop. Fucking stop. Give them a reason to trust you first. Give them a reason that you know what the fuck you're talking about as far as jokes are concerned.
Unless I see you doing well getting away with it.
Oh no! Get into the fucking crowd work in the middle.
But
right?
if you, because I'll counter that to I agree with you, 95 or 99% of the time. But if this is your thing and it works for you, and I could see proof, sure. But if you're going, why am I doing this and shit's not working? Because you don't know how many new comedians you'll see that you're like they got zero jokes when they show up.
Yeah.
And then they're like, the shit that kills me is they go, how much more time do I have? I'm like, bro, if you don't got shit, get the fuck out of here.
Fuck off.
But I agree with your shit. But I'm going, okay, for the people who are the exception that could do that.
Like here's what happened when we did that fucking open mic over there, right? So he hits me up and he tells me, hey, I have a spot. If you want it, take it. And I said, cool.
And you bumped me?
And I bumped you, right? And I said, cool. And I sat and I watched every comic. I think the first couple comics I missed, but I was definitely listening and I was watching them. I learned a long time ago that if I'm going at the end of a showcase that has more than 5 comics, I have to remind them that they've sat through this whole entire thing. I can't just go up there and be like, hey, and then the comedy show starts now and I've only got 10, 15 minutes to fucking do it. I have to go in there and reward them. Hey, do you remember that guy? Do you remember that girl? Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Wow, holy shit. Bring it a whole fucking thing. If I'm asking the crowd to pay movie prices, I got to give them continuity.
Yeah, I've always thought of, that's funny you say that, I've always thought of the comedy thing as like the movies, where I'm like, open mic, right? Like shitty open mic, shit as you can think of. People who are there because they had a tough day at work or they're doing shit and they're hanging out. They didn't pay a dime to get in. A comedy club, vice versa, is like, yo, people paid money to come entertain me. The stage is set, the lights are off, you can't even really see anybody. That's the show. Yeah. And so
I think that's kind of why I stand on the whole crowd work perspective is that if they're showing up, if you're fucking showing up at an open mic and you're like, I'm going to crowd work them, right? We used to give shit to this one comic in Vegas who that's all he would do. He would book himself for these 10-minute open mics that we would have, and then he would crowd work, and he would always get a response. But none of us would ever book him because we knew
for the whole
that,
10 minutes.
Yeah, it was just crowd work. He would just go up there and then he would like start singing, right? And fucking, you guessed it, he's black. And he was just fucking start singing.
Black
and
loves
then,
crowd work.
And he would fucking point at like, oh, look at this white dude. I got no rhythm. Da, da, da. And it was the basic run of the mill shit. And we kind of started challenging
he would just lead him into it. And
and so we would kind of challenge him into being all like, hey, man,
maybe tell some jokes.
I would say, hey, he got the most laughs, right? He fucking was killing up there. Okay, cool. Tell me one joke he fucking said up there. Yeah. And all of us would stop and look at each other and be like, yeah. So we would kind of tell him like, hey, I get it. It works for you. But what makes it harder for us to put you up on a club stage is that we can't guarantee. We'd rather not to see your crowd work. We'd rather see something
and you can't
solid.
really gauge that. That's not quantifying because it's like, what if the crowd doesn't give you anything that night?
Yeah. So then what? I'm going to sit you up there to fucking go die for 10, 15 minutes.
And ruin the show, like ruin the pacing of the show.
Yeah. We're doing this for your kind of own benefit.
Yeah. There's that's the business side of it.
Yeah.
And I've done shows where the booker or the dude who's running the club will be like, yo, crowd works for the headliner. Nobody else like do your jokes.
Oh yeah, the headliner that I work with a lot in Vegas, Butch Bradley, fucking amazing comic, right?
Yeah.
This guy's a fucking monster. But you can also tell he's bored of his material. He's been doing it for fucking
Yeah,
ever.
dude.
He's got a 5-night-a-week headlining residency.
What I noticed a lot of headliners doing now, it's I don't know if it's a trend or I just never been around it, but it's like they do Q&As at the end, and that's what they do.
I like that.
They do they do their 45-minute
that.
set. And then they do 30 minutes of because I just shot for Nimesh Patel and Jessica Kirsten, and they both do Q&As at the end.
Kirsten's so fucking
She's
good at
so
that
good.
shit. She's so fucking good at
And
that.
who'd you shoot for this weekend?
Natalie Cuomo.
She's a total crowd worker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there are people out there who can fucking make it. And if the crowd's not giving you what you want, and I'm gonna call him out too, but like Matt Rife, you know, Matt Rife actually does have a solid set.
Yeah.
I've heard his shit.
Yeah.
I've gone to fucking clubs. I've been on showcases
Yeah.
with this dude. He has a fucking solid, strong set.
Yeah.
But when the world of fucking TikTok and you know he's got cameras set up
Yeah,
and everything,
exactly,
he's
everywhere.
not going to put up his set now, but he has to maintain a social media presence.
Exactly.
So guess what's making itself on the social media presence? That crowd work.
Yes.
That crowd work.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's you are just filming a fucking wrestling promo at that point.
No. I see that though in the business. I'm like, okay, cool. So I look forward. I try and get him to as many shows as I can with him being there.
Yeah.
And if he's not, then maybe someone else is filming, or we can
Yeah.
send somebody. But like, and I look forward to the show going off the rails. I want you.
It's always so much more
I
fun.
want you to take me off track because I know it's gonna kill. And
By the time this fucking airs, I'll shit on this one. So I agreed to do a few shows for a friend of mine while I was here that kind of kept me occupied, and he did pay me. But a lot of the shows were definitely
here in Phoenix,
yeah.
Jesse Ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's the boy.
So I've known
Ever?
him, I've known him for a while, and usually when I get to his productions, like for the most part, what makes the show is whether or not the comic takes what's in front of him and makes it into what it can possibly be.
Yeah.
I've understood that for his crowds, I've become a favorite because I know that sometimes he'll put up a lot of inexperienced comics for longer sets of times that they can't handle. Right?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I get it, man. Fucking give that fucking shot to them and everything.
Yeah, great.
But guess what you're doing for me as a headliner,
Dude,
Now I have to fucking.
That's not talked about enough. Is sometimes when you got the headliner quality like at shitty show, you put me up first. Like let me start the show.
I tried to get him
Let me
to.
dip.
So I tried to get him to do that for me because I got double booked on Saturday, and he was booked. He got asked to do some fucking like weed festival thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was happening, and it was like their second annual one, and they're bringing in comics. And I got
Oh yeah, I
asked
remember that. Yeah, I forgot what it's called, but
yeah, and they had a good crowd. It was, it kind of brought me back to like old swap meets in El Paso. And then they had this internal area where they had a band playing, and then we were supposed to go up after the bands. I also got double booked to go do Don't Tell Phoenix, which
nice.
I've done Don't Tell in Vegas. Always have a blast.
Did you do it here yet?
No, I couldn't do that one because the time
This last weekend?
coincided. They couldn't coincide. So I was asking Jesse to put me up first, right? We'll start it off mega strong, right? These people aren't here for me. Granted, they're not even here for fucking comedy. They're here for the fucking festival. I'll go up there, earn my fucking paycheck. I'll do my job. I'll get people entertained. And then I'll fucking leave. And then you just put the next comics up.
whoever after that.
And that'll give me more than enough time to do that show and then book off and do Don't Tell.
yeah.
The band, the show was supposed to start at 7.
Yeah.
As far as stand up was concerned, we were supposed to start at 7. I was supposed to be up by about 7:30, 7:45.
How much time are you doing?
At that point, only 20 to 30 was the
Okay.
ballpark, right?
Easy
Which
money.
is fucking easy money, right? I even told them that I was double booked, and then they increased my pay, and they were like, "We don't want you to go to the other show." And I said, "Look, I can do both."
Yeah, it's not. You don't have to do that. Just
Well, and they'd actually probably pay you more than the Don't Tell. Don't Tell's only gonna pay you like 50.
Yeah.
But
I wanted
the
to still
brand,
meet them
The
at the
brand of the
brand.
Don't Tell.
yeah, it's always
Because I come back to
And
Phoenix often.
Is there, other than the money side, I don't know about you, but like other than just the money side, there's still something too about the love of the game. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I love a sold out, intimate crowd because like I know I'm about to like. It's about it. That's what when I talk to new comedians about like, oh, how should I start? It's like everybody is going to give you their own experience, right? And that's why you got to take it with a grain of salt. But like, I'll tell you this: I prepared for my shit, and my first ever time doing comedy was in front of like 150, 200 people at the Helium. When I got those laughs, bro, that was like.
It's fucking. It's.
I was like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. It's like, so you go, but you still chase that every time you're doing comedy. So when you go to a Don't Tell
is there because the people who show up for Don't Tell are fans of comedy.
they're paying $25, dude.
They're paying money to go over there and be at a show that they don't know where the location is. They're being told to bring in their own alcohol.
Yes, dude.
They're being told. They're just like, you're showing up. You don't even know the lineup.
It's almost like pure like comedy. It's almost like pure like at the heart of it.
It
like,
is, dude. It
you're
is
showing up for that shit.
Because like BYOB shows always seem to be like the most purest forms of like shows.
Yeah.
Because you're there to fucking you're kind of tailgating.
You're
show.
tailgating a comedy show. You're there to get fucked up and laugh.
I did Don't Tell at the end of January for here. First show, amazing. People shut the fuck up. Second show, when you say hecklers, it's usually like one or two people, right? And that's what happened at the last show. You've seen me perform a few times. I go up and I don't say nothing to start, and I just wait for everyone to shut up, like a teacher almost.
Yeah.
Bro, I think I went over a minute, and these women were just talking like blah 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 in the front row. And I just stood there, and fucking stared.
Let them fucking know.
It's like the whole show. Every comedian was heckled throughout the whole show, but because of these people talking, actually, yeah.
That's what ends up happening is they're not going to exactly kick them out because we're like, oh, we got your money.
Well, it's not the club either. The club is like, yo, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I did a show with Ryan Long, and you know Ryan.
Yeah.
And you know his feature JJ, JJ Lieberman.
Yeah.
You know JJ. We were
fucking nuts, dude.
Dude, yeah.
Yo, cut this up and put this to JJ Lieberman.
Yes.
JJ Lieberman has the best taste in fucking titty milk. JJ Lieberman is my favorite fucking soundbite comic in the sense that motherfucker will say something, and I hope that constantly all of his fans take everything he says out of context, and then you'll understand how much of a fucking genius that fucking gap tooth queer is.
Dude,
I fucking love that guy. I love him so much.
He's so good.
He's got an interesting life too. Like he's like, yeah.
Strange guy.
He's like, yeah, I was in the World Series of Poker. Like I was like, yo,
You're like, what?
tell me about that.
and that's what gets me is that like I'll put it this way to tie shit with the Jesse thing.
Yeah.
When JJ was living in Vegas for a little while, I wanted to put him up on so many more shows, some more showcases, and he knows we would have these constant conversations about like, I wish I could put you up on something bigger, but this is what I have. And as far as money's concerned, it'll pay you, but it is definitely not what you're worth.
Yes, exactly.
Know? And I'm sorry, I just wish it could be better. We're trying to build this back up, post quarantine. And we're trying to get him into fucking everything. And I get it. That's what Jesse's trying to do with like me and a couple like Stephen Briggs and the guys that he does.
Stephen Briggs from LA?
Yeah. So I know we Briggs has got a fucking following and he's got credits, right? Yeah. I've been busting my ass. I've got a fucking little weird cult following there, and I fucking love that.
Those
shit.
can be bigger than a bigger following sometimes.
Right.
More loyal.
But I mean, if I convince them to be like, all right, hey, we're going to some fucking weed benefit show, they're gonna show up for that.
Yeah.
And so I'll do these shows, even though the cards are literally stacked up against you, right? The sound is fucking awful.
Yeah. When's the last time you feel like you bombed? Like and it doesn't you know what a bomb means, where it's like it's just like I did a show on Saturday that was it's just like nobody was there to like really see the show. It was all comedians and then shit, and it's like that's the first time I really was like I did not enjoy doing comedy for the first time in a long time.
So I came out of Albuquerque a couple weeks ago.
So Dry Heat?
Yeah, I did Dry Heat. And I was headlining Dry Heat for a late night Saturday show. Oof. And here's the thing when it comes to like late night shows, especially in Albuquerque.
Late night shows are hit and miss.
Late night shows are just anywhere.
Yeah. And I live, like I said, I live for the cards stacked against me. If the show is fucking going terrible and awful, that's my biggest inspiration to go up there and being all like, fuck this, let's go.
Kill.
Right? And I have so much fun at a tanking show.
No, I've seen you. The show we did together in August at Stir Crazy.
So finish the story then.
Yeah, but that's so I go to Stir Crazy, or I go to fucking I go to Dry Heat, and they tell us, oh yeah, ticket sales should be really, really good. And then they tell me that there was a problem with Eventbrite, and there was only 12 motherfuckers who showed up.
Nice.
Right? A few of them were stand-up comedians who are friends of mine who paid ticket prices.
goddamn.
To be wow.
Right?
You're like, those are not the people you want to see.
Yeah, this is not the ones you want.
Now, I love this club. New Mexico doesn't have a lot of comedy clubs. This is kind of one of the first fucking ones that calls itself a comedy club. But it's a room. It's just a singular room with stolen theater chairs, right?
Well,
that are bolted down.
That's one thing I learned about comedy is a club, like a good club, it's built strategically. Like that's why Stir Crazy is so dope. They built it to be like a comedy club. Like
Tom Sims knows exactly.
Yeah, he's very analytical.
So we're there, and the crowd's kind of real spotted, not sitting next to each other and shit. Yeah. On top of that, the lineup, they put 6, 7 comics before me.
Yeah.
Right? And all of them are different styles, different vibes, right? The host is up there. He's mega energetic for 12 people. And you know what's the worst is when you do up there, guys, make some noise. Oh, come on, let me hear you. And it's there are 12 motherfuckers here.
I can't hear you.
How about we just ask them individually, hello.
How they're doing.
How are you?
We have the time.
Are you good? So you can tell the crowd's already getting fucking exhausted. And I thought, I'm gonna come up with a way to make this work my way.
Yeah.
Right? And I brought up a camera stand with me on stage, and I had it pointing at the crowd. And so I'm filming my set with one camera in the back.
Yeah.
And I'm filming the other part with a camera that I brought with me on stage facing the audience.
Yeah.
But when I got up there, didn't notice that a few of the comics before had walked some of the crowd. So now I'm dealing with maybe 8 motherfuckers in the crowd. And so I walked up there all confident and oh, you know what? I'm going to get your faces. And I pointed the camera at them. And I am literally pointing at the edge of the dude, and then there's nobody in the seats. Yeah. Just fucking nobody there. And I thought to myself, okay, cool. I started trying to kind of lightly crowd work. Hello, how you doing? Da, da, da. They're not giving me shit because guess what? All the other comics that already fucking spoke to them, right? So I'm all fuck it. Let's just fucking hit them with all the fucking
material.
With all the material. And I'm hitting with material, and I'm getting scattered laughter here or there. Yeah. It's happening. But then I'm realizing that I'm I'm going to go out on a limb with this new joke that I wrote. A lot of the people who stuck around are on dates. And I started doing this joke about how I'm in a long distance relationship. I started going into the fact that, my girl doesn't send me fucking nudes anymore. She sends me old nudes to see if I would notice. And so
that's funny. That's really good.
And
that's really fucking good.
just to fuck.
Just to see if you care.
Just to see if I give a shit. And I'm all oh shit, you're blonde again? And she's like, what the fuck? And then she'll send me another fucking video, and she's like, oh, you're brunette at this point.
You passed.
Yeah, you passed. So after all of this, right? I realize that I'm getting the guys to laugh and the girls aren't really engaged in it because I am taking a very you fucking women are lazy and
whatever, yeah.
And then I've lost them. And then I'm looking at the timer because they have a fucking timer that counts down in the back.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at the timer and I see, all right, I still got 20 minutes left.
Shit.
And then I am just what can best be described as hate fucking the audience with these jokes. And I'm giving them the same energy I would give a sold out crowd. Guess what, guys?
Why not?
And I would turn around and, all right, next joke. And I would go every once in a while. I would look at my camera and I'd be like, it's going great. And then
we're having a good time.
We're having a great time. And I got off. I went 5 minutes over my time to do a merch pitch.
Why not?
Why not? I was all let's see if they'll buy merch. And
dude, his merch is so funny, bro.
But I was all all right, let's see if anyone's
merch.
gonna buy this fucking merch. And I do this whole merch pitch that was inspired by a good friend of mine, Brett Ernst.
Brett Ernst? Yeah. Karate Kid.
No, is that Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Brett Ernst and I worked together in Vegas, and he was telling me about merch, and we both fucking got into this. We get into race wars because we were trying to figure out
do you know who Brad Goss is?
Yeah.
Race Wars.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
we're both having this fucking, and I was like, I'm gonna do the merch pitch anyways, and I'm doing this merch pitch to fucking like 8 people, and I'm doing the merch pitch. While I'm doing the merch pitch, one of the other comics who was on the show, like I said, the club is not a club that has like rooms.
Yeah.
The club is just a room. It's just that. The only thing that separates you from walking into the place is a fucking curtain.
Oh, shit.
So one of the comics is like walking back there and is setting up a table and just setting up merchandise, so you could see the silhouette of this comic. And I love
That's
the guy.
almost like a shadow puppet.
Yeah, he's like,
And this guy is like a burlesque host, so he's wearing a fucking like feather boa, and he's got cat ears. So you're just seeing, while I'm doing the rest of my fucking material,
cat bird
this
person.
fucking just silhouette of this guy setting up, because he sells his own feather boa. And I'm just trying to get through my jokes.
Yeah.
And I'm just all like, fucking just man, who's gonna be
just
here?
kill me, bro.
Right? And then I'm like, all right, I finished the jokes, right? And I even said, like, who wants one of these hats? You know, the fucking typical, like, who wants
I can't
one,
hear
right?
you.
Who wants one of these? And it is met with my old roommate who's in the crowd, and she's fucking high as fuck, and that's the only laugh I get out of her is just like, and I was like, that's good enough. I gotta go, and I fucking left. And I got the fuck off stage.
Oh my God.
And then as I get off stage, people are like, good set. And I was like, stop fucking lying. Don't do this shit. And I walk all the way to the front. This dude's got his fucking table with all of his feather boas and cat ears and shit. And he has the smallest sliver of the table for me to sell my fucking hats. And he's like, oh, did you need more? And I was all like, you have more merch out here. And I did, 5 times as much
Promo?
time than you were on stage for so little time and this. Yeah. And I set up, and the crowd just politely
Yeah.
and I was like, look, I'll take the fucking L. I don't mind.
That's awesome.
I was hoping your story would end with like, no, one dude bought everything.
Dude, fucking one person, we out of both of our fucking shit, he sold one set of cat ears. And it was to my fucking roommate that I fucking brought with me. And I was like, you fucking
it'd be your own
traitor. Your own fucking people.
Be your own people.
That's
Dude, the Adam's merch is really fucking funny because he was making it in the green room. He bought a bunch of like generic trucker hats and was drawing on them.
That's so smart.
And sold them. No, they're like 101.
I love it. No, I love that. I love that.
He's
shit.
got his own NFT, dude. He's a
walking NFT.
He doesn't get enough credit for being when they hyped me up when they bumped me the first time for you. I was like, okay, who's this Adam Dominguez guy?
Hey, fuck this guy,
Fuck this fucking
No,
idiot.
but then I watched this. I was like, okay,
I get it.
I don't need to see you more than once. I was like, valid,
Hey, that's how most
valid.
crowds feel.
No, no. Just as a comedian, I don't watch stand-up comedy. Like that's not something I do.
I think that's kind of like a weird thing, because me personally, I have my favorites that I'll watch, but like I went to go see Kyle Kinane, who's one of my all-time favorites, but I saw half of his set and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. Even your favorite.
I loved it.
Even your favorite.
Fucking loved it.
No, I would film so much. Like I usually only watch the set on the last day of the weekend. I was like, maybe I'll pop in, but even then, I'm just like,
Yeah, the secret thing is everyone wants to do stand up, and this guy would be good at it. He's one of the funniest guys I've ever met. He's just always behind the camera.
If you had to have an opening joke about like, you know how like people do like, oh, bitches be like, but if you had to do it like, man, comics be like,
comics be the one who be my joke.
Yeah, because you watch.
Be like, I'm important.
Comics.
Why did that hurt so much? This motherfucker went to the fucking jugular there.
I'm mean, bro.
Oh, very mean.
No, I'm mean, dude. I produced a show over the weekend.
He finessed. I felt like it was like a mom, like doing some like speaking for me to like make all stars in Little League.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was with him.
I got him on a show.
I was sitting.
The guy a guest spot was late.
I was sitting in the green room of Mic Drop. I'm sitting like this. The dude who was supposed to be up first was the guest of the headliner, and the show's supposed to start at 7. It's 7:20, and like Gatsby's like, "Hey, you're on." And I was like, all right. He's like, you're doing 6. I was like, cool. I'm sitting in the green room, like waiting my turn, and like the dude finally shows up and is like, hey man, like I'm here, and he's like, hey, I already gave the list to the MC, like it's done deal. And I was like sitting there, the guilt in me. So I'm actually a nice guy. I was like, you know what, bro, you have the spot, bro. Like I was sitting there feeling like that.
Yeah, well, I looked at this dude. I was like, close the door.
Because I had no intentions of being on stage that night, but I was like, okay, I'll do this.
I think you had messaged me too. You're like, I can't make it to your show because you had it picked up on another show. But I think that's how most of us find any of the fucking
a lot of gigs.
We do. Dude, I got into Skankfest Vegas, right? And I didn't even apply. I didn't do any of that shit. Just because of the comedians I worked with, and they were like, hey, do you just want to fucking come in?
Yeah. No, dude, you get that a lot. You learn that from hanging out at the clubs. You're like I've gotten on like at some big venues just by like being there because I was watching somebody else, and they're like,
you up?
They're like they have the way they do it out here. Even then, for like the biggest corporate clubs out here, the Improv, CB Live, Stand Up Live, they still give local people a shot. You just got to bring 10.
Oh fuck.
So right, but like we're at these places already. We're like, I'm not bringing 10, and if I'm gonna bring 10, I better be getting paid for these 10, and I better be getting more than 5 minutes. And so I showed up to a show one time at CB Live, and dude, everybody was eating a bag of dicks, and they were just like, can we get somebody up here? And like my friend Zayd was hosting. Have you met Zayd?
Yeah, I fucking
Zayd goes, fuck. He's like, Adam's right here, and like they threw me up there. And it's like, finally somebody that can fucking do something up here,
hold their own.
Because some people, they like, we have our local scene out here, but then there's people who only do the New Faces shows.
Yeah.
And they're like, I perform all over, like Stand Up Live, the Improv. But you're like, bro, I never seen
what
you.
show was it? Like,
there was a guy who called himself the DMV guy, and he wore cargo shorts, and he went up there and just ate shit for 5 minutes. But he's on every goddamn show. I was like, I mean, shit.
You're gonna meet so many of them.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that all right, my favorite fucking networking comic I've ever met in my entire life. I'm not going to out his name because this is totally fucking. This is allegedly no, because so we were at Skankfest, and he's a friend of mine, and I've known him for a while. Very, very funny, very, very strong comic. He's going to be one of the next up and comer comics for sure.
What city is he out of?
Now he's out of Austin.
Okay.
And that's why I'm not going to out him because of the way he fucking got into the shit, because it's going to happen to him anyways. But I'm hanging out.
On you to take the L.
We're hanging out in the fucking green room, right? We're hanging out in the green room at Skankfest, and Skankfest has multiple green rooms for all their stages. We're hanging out one of their main ones, and they have their own little private bartenders and little fucking bar area that you just go over there and just get drinks and hang out. I'm hanging out over there with Brett Ernst. Both of us are talking shit to each other. We're having a blast. I see my friend, and he says, "Oh, is this your friend?" And I said, "Yeah, Brett. This is whoever." And I think we could shake hands. It's like, cool. I'm actually a big fan of yours and everything. And Brett's like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's what's up. That's what's up." And he's like, "Okay," out loud. He's like, "All right, guys, now it's time to network." And he pulls out a fucking 8-ball, goes to the table. Goes to the fucking table, and he's doing the smallest little fucking lines. Just puts them on the table.
like it's a pizza party, and like you have to cut them in like double halves.
And you're seeing all the comedians who are hanging out in the green room just stop and look and see what he's doing, and they're just waiting for him to be fucking done. And he's like, "Okay, who's ready to network?" And then you would see one guy like me, and he's about to fucking go in for a line, and he's like, hold on. What city are you from, and what rooms do you book? And then he would say like, "Oh, I'm from Atlanta, and I have ins on this." Okay, cool. Follow me on Instagram.
All right.
I'll message you right now. Okay, go for it. And then
That's amazing.
That's awesome, dude.
Like moths to a flame, dog.
the amount of fucking comics are like, "Yo, bro, I can get you booked in Maryland. I can get you."
Because when you want a line, you want a line.
Oh,
That's the golden snort all.
holy shit!
That's the pod.
That's
it.
awesome,
That's the pod. That's a great story to end it on.
Holy
Oh, I appreciate you coming out, Adam.
man, I love that.
Adam,
do you have
we
anything
don't
to-
know when this will be launched, but
talk about yourself.
where can we follow you?
Everything's branded Adam J. Dominguez. You guys could follow up on everything. You guys could check out the OnlyFans special on OFTV, which is on LMAOF Vegas. You guys
Can't
could-
wait for that. Like, that's so dope.
It's so weird. It's such a weird thing.
That's the world we live in, though.
That's you. You are a weird thing.
Yeah, this bucket. You're going to see a lot more weirder things coming out.
Why not?
So you guys can follow everything up on Instagram. I usually keep everything pretty fucking. heavily
It'll be in the
updated.
show notes as well.
Yeah, and you also check out Laugh After Dark live in Las Vegas. I'm on episode 9, which is on Amazon Prime right now, along with Liz Stone. You guys can totally check out that show, and you guys can see all the jokes that I hate to tell now.
Love it. Thank you, Adam Dominguez.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.